The following program is paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Fresno on News Talk 580 KMJ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Craig Barton.
Good morning, Central Valley. I am your host, Craig Barton, and welcome to the Real Estate Radio Network, the most important hour of radio each week here on News Talk 580 KMJ. Real Estate Radio is a show dedicated to bringing some rational thought to the crazy, crazy world that we live in and helping you to rebuild the Central Valley's housing and credit markets. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted advice. And it's exactly what you are going to hear every Saturday at 4 a.m. right here on News Talk 580 KMJ. Thanks for joining us, Central Valley. As always, Michelle, thanks for getting up with us.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
I feel very, very, very grateful that you'd actually get up this early on a Saturday morning. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed.
And it's been a rough week. You know, it's Valentine's Day and farm show. A lot going on. I'm
a lot of
tired
gas
this
out of
morning.
the tank. A lot of money out of the checking account.
I wore my red boots 3 times this week.
And appropriately so.
Valentine's Day.
You better believe it.
There you go.
It's always great to have our special guest host, Michelle Pettis-Cavalli, here in the studio with us. Michelle is a licensed realtor and a trusted local professional. Thanks again, kid. On today's show, you know, if you're looking to purchase a new home and you're a little short on your cash, we've got a visitor here in the studio with us that brought a big bag of money. That's here to share with us.
I don't share that.
We've got Timo here in the studio with us to give us some great information regarding down payment assistance help. Tim is a mortgage advisor with Valleywide Homes here in Fresno. And we are also going to talk about Obama's proposed mortgage assistance program. Does this program, Michelle, have any teeth, or is it more election year hype? We're also going to talk about Harp 2.0. If you don't know what Harp 1.0 is, we'll cover that with you and get you up to speed.
I didn't know we had musicians in the studio.
Yeah, big harp-like object, not the same type of harp. And I'm sure inquiring minds, now that we've deviated from the course so much, are going to want to know exactly what we're talking about. Make sure you stay with us. If you have any real estate or real estate financing-related questions or questions regarding the information that you hear on our show, call us at 800-979-3958, or you can also check out our resources online at reofresnohomes.com. Or, Michelle, you can use press 4 keywords, KMJ, call Craig. We'd love to hear from KMJ, call Craig.
Do you see it? I'm using it. I'm loving it, just so you know.
Well, are you using press 4?
I am.
You are?
I am.
Well, listeners, if you're not using press 4, my first question is why not? You need to get press. I'm tongue-tied.
Are we pre-qualifying for press 4?
I am so tongue-tied for press 4. You need to get press 4. We call press 4 one button for the rest of your life. With press 4, you can get what you want with just one, within reason, Michelle. Just one simple push of your button on your mobile phone. Just go to the Press 4 website at press4, that's P-R-E-S-S, the number 4.com, and follow the easy setup instructions. Press 4 will work on any phone, iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, Windows Phone.
Even dumb phones.
And even dumb phones.
Even dumb phones.
You will hear us use Press 4 every week to help keep you in the know and to pass on all sorts of valuable information to you. During our show, you are going to hear us, right, Michelle? You're going to hear us say things like, to call into the show, just use Press 4 keyword.
KMJ, call Craig.
And guess what?
What?
When you say
KMJ, call Craig?
Excuse me, you are going to get right in contact with us.
Can I?
One button can really...
Do you know the best part of this?
What's that?
That it actually saves you forever into my phone as KMJ, call Craig.
I love it.
You listen.
Thank you for calling Press 4. Please say your keyword now.
KMJ, call Craig.
You have said KMJ, call Craig.
Gotta love it.
I love it. I feel like I have my own little personal Craig caller.
I tell you what, it is your own little personal Craig caller. Or,
but she has kind of a cool voice, too.
Just
anyway.
like last week on our show, you can say KMJ HUD Homes, and we'll send you more information or right to your right to your smartphone about HUD Homes.
And that was awesome, by the way. I love the HUD Homes. That was a great show.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, I tell you what, in the news, there's good market news. California's affordability rose to its highest level in the fourth quarter of 2011, matching a record high set in 2009. Now, according to the California Association of Realtors, the percentage of homebuyers who could actually afford to purchase a median-priced single-family home rose to 55% in the quarter, up from 52% in the previous quarter and 50% in the fourth quarter of 2010. On average, home buyers in the state needed to earn a minimum, and Tim, you can touch about this a little bit later when we're talking about down payment assistance. We actually kind of started to talk about this.
Yeah.
Home buyers in the state needed to earn a minimum annual income of $57,750 to qualify for that median-priced home of approximately $282,350. That for statewide is okay, but you'll see here in our market, that means a monthly payment of on a 30-year fixed-rate loan would be approximately $1,440, assuming a 20% down payment at an interest rate of 4.31%, which is up from 4.62% in the fourth quarter of 2010. Now, county-specific, let's talk Fresno County. In Fresno County, the Housing Affordability Index rose to 70%, up from 69% in the previous quarter, and 67% in the same quarter a year before. So for a median-priced home of $143,500, home buyers in the county needed to make an annual income of $29,000. Tim, you're going to love this when we get to you, huh?
Yep.
$29,350 with monthly payments of approximately $730. Who can rent for $730?
It'd be tough to.
It is tough to. For a family, it's very tough to.
Yeah. Now, in Madera County, 75% of the homeowners could afford a median-priced home, up from 74% in the third quarter, and up from 70% in the fourth quarter of 2010. Home buyers in Madera County needed to make an annual income of $24,160 to afford a median-priced home of $118,180 with monthly payments roughly around $600. Kings County, we saw the same types of increases. The index was up 75% in the recent quarter. Now, excuse me, it was down from 76% in the previous quarter, but up from 66% in the fourth quarter of 2010. For a minimum annual income of $28,160, home buyers could afford to purchase a median-priced home of somewhere in the ballpark of about $137,690 with payments of $700. Tulare County, much the same. The affordability index stayed at 73%, but rose from 71% in the fourth quarter of 2010. Again, a median-priced home of $125,970. Home buyers needed to make at least $25,000 on monthly payments of $640. Now, wouldn't you guys both say that these numbers, at least the sentiment is that the numbers are headed in the right direction?
Oh, absolutely.
For home affordability.
Oh,
absolutely.
most definitely.
And these, let's mention too, these figures are principal and interest only. They're not including your taxes or insurance, correct?
And assuming 20% down.
Okay.
Correct.
And let me just tell you, the line to purchase houses continues to grow. I mean, in my personal experience, people are calling more and more every day, knowing that it's becoming very clear you can get into a house for at or below what you're paying for your apartment. And that is just amazing.
Easily.
And we're back to where we need to be here in the Fresno, San Joaquin Valley.
Which is going to scare the heck out of apartment complexes.
You know.
All of a sudden there's a rush on.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. But there's a lot of people who've lost their homes, and those people, unfortunately, at this moment may not be able to purchase, so that's where those rentals come in. So it all goes full circle. There's a balancing act going on at all times.
It is cyclical, most definitely, and the needs are definitely the needs are out there. Those folks that unfortunately did lose their homes that need to be on the curb or on the side.
On the sidewalk?
On the sideline. I'm hoping on the
Keep them off the curb,
on the
please.
sideline is what I was looking for.
Right.
That need to be on the sideline for 3 years.
Right.
They do have a place to go, per se.
Right.
and hopefully it's an affordable place to go. But the light at the end of the tunnel is if they're 2 years out, they've got 12 months to go. They need to talk to a mortgage advisor like Tim to ensure that they get themselves into a position. Because now you don't just want to wait 3 years from the time that you lose a
and
property.
then look at it.
Earlier, you're going to have a roadmap.
Well, and you've got homework, right?
Yeah.
We always talk about
Yeah.
you've got homework between now and then. So because
You can help prepare yourself, obviously.
Oh, most definitely. If there's a debt you need to pay off, if there's something you need to address, and also setting that expectation for the hopefully future homeowner.
Correct.
How much money do you need to save? What's your principal and interest, taxes and insurances, plus MI payment going to be?
Right.
When you, assuming that rates stay pretty consistent, you can always aim a little high.
They haven't moved a lot. But
It is, in terms of home affordability, it is a great message for consumers out there. That is for sure. One quick side note, I have to throw this in here. I know this might kind of sound stupid and totally completely unrelated, but
we never do that.
No,
ever.
We never bounce around. That's for sure. We always keep on topic and
Always.
Make sure we stay with the show outline. I heard this on Fox News last week, and one of the commentators said, "Buy on rumor, sell on the news, and make it up as they go."
Wow. Are you kidding?
I kid you not. Somewhat of a cynical way to look at exactly how this really, truly emotional-based market is, but I think it really coined it up. Buy on rumor, sell on the news.
Yeah, because
sell
the
on
minute
stuff
they
you can verify.
say, yeah, right.
Oh, speculation has it that
It's time to sell.
so-and-so is going to do something or other. So.
Right.
Make it up as they go.
That is so
I love
true.
it. Again, contact reminder, if you have any real estate or real estate financing related questions or just questions regarding the information you hear on the show, don't hesitate to give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Call us at 800-979-3958 or check out our resources online, reofresnohomes.com, or just use press 4 keyword
KMJ, call Craig.
Call Craig to call into the show. Well, if you're looking to purchase a new home and you're a little short on your down payment, we've got Tim here with his bag of money.
Yes.
With some down payment assistance help for you. Again, Tim is a mortgage advisor with Tim O'Hare is a mortgage advisor with Valleywide Homes in Fresno. Tim as well. Michelle's a trooper because she gets up every week, but you're here 1 week in a row, and I got to tell you.
Yeah, I have to trade off when I do have the kids and I don't. So. Sorry, side note.
You're just being real, Tim.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for showing up so early. Well, Tim, tell our listeners how you can help them specifically with some down payment assistance, and talk about, first and foremost, what is, just to clarify,
Sure.
What is down payment assistance?
Down payment assistance, I mean, the title pretty much says it itself, I believe, but really what it is it's a help for people to get into a home for the first time. It's geared for first-time home buyers. So the programs that are available, there are some countywide, citywide, statewide, and just depending upon where you live, what type of property you're probably looking into, there could be a program for you. Specifically, what we're going to be talking about today is going to be geared towards anybody in the state of California.
Nice.
So
Big footprint.
huge, but
no restrictions.
There are no restrictions with this program. Probably the more popular as far as the programs are concerned that are out there for the down payment assistance.
So
for the
down payment assistance program for first-time home buyers that you're here to talk about today specifically is called.
We call it CHDAP in the industry, and what that stands for is the California Home Buyers Down Payment Assistance Program. And essentially what we're doing is, again, trying to get first-time home buyers into a home in the state of California.
Quick question. I know that back in the day when I was, 12 and looking for my first house, I think I had this overwhelming concern it was going to cost me a ton of money to get in the house.
Typical.
So I think let's narrow it down a little bit. I mean, when we talk down payment assistance, is down payment assistance for an FHA, conventional? Tell me a little more, because there's percentages there.
Sure. Typically speaking, it's going to be for an FHA loan.
Okay, so we're looking at 3.5%.
3.5%
of the purchase price is our down payment.
Your down payment for a FHA loan typically is going to be 3.5% of the purchase price. So if you have $100,000 purchase price, you're going to have to put up $3,500.
So it's that $3,500 that this program helps people with, or
Helps
that
towards that
3.5%.
program.
Okay,
Correct.
cool.
Correct. And I'll get into a little bit more detail of exactly how much the down payment is. But,
Okay.
But to answer your question, a typical home buyer, if they are buying a home in an FHA loan, they have to show that they have 3.5% down in their own funds as far as a bank account is concerned. We can get more specific as far as underwriting is concerned, but there are gift funds available for buyers. But today we're just talking about the down payment assistance program.
Cool.
Yeah. So this down payment assistance program, I touched on it just a second ago, but it is available throughout the state of California for all home buyers that are first-time home buyers. So what is the question?
Yeah.
What is a first-time home buyer?
Who is,
Right.
well, because it differs for programs versus companies versus.
As a lender or investor views a first-time home buyer is someone that has not bought in a home within the last 3 years.
Okay.
So, Craig, you talked a little bit about people that are on the sidelines earlier, people that maybe their house had been foreclosed upon 3 years ago. Guess what? 3 years ago today, they are now considered first-time home buyer.
Certainly.
Yeah. So they're now back in the home buying arena that they can go out and purchase a home, first-time home buyer.
Okay. So regardless that they already had a house, regardless they lost a house, this program could be available to them.
Correct.
Okay.
Within limitations, which we will touch on.
We just get there. You guys I'm not very patient.
So you talked about, when you were talking percentages, and you gave the example on a $100,000 purchase price, the minimum investment requirement for FHA is 3.5% or $3,500.
$3,500, correct.
So this particular down payment assistance program covers what percentage of that? Does it cover all your down payment, or?
No. What this program will cover is it will cover up to 3%. Okay. However, there does have to be skin in the game. In other words, the buyer, first-time home buyer, has to put up either $1,000 or 1% of the down payment.
Okay.
So let's take, for an example, the $100,000 purchase price. 1% of that would be $1,000, and it also equals 1%, correct?
Whichever is 1%.
Whichever is more. So let's say you were talking about the median home price customer was I think was around $143,000. So we'll use round numbers of $150,000. If you got a purchase price of $150,000, the buyer is going to have to put up either $1,000 or 1%, whichever is more. Well, in this case, it'd be $1,500, so that's the amount that they would have to put as
so
their
they do have to come in with something.
Right.
We're not just giving houses away and signing off. Okay, gotcha. All right.
No, that's what got us in this mess in the first place.
I think that's why Tim said skin in the game.
I like that.
There's a greater likelihood that when someone comes to the plate, comes to the curb with an investment, there's a greater likelihood that they're
going to fight to keep it.
Yeah, they're going to fight to keep it, that they're going to try to stay there, that they're going to put up a little more of a fight than what they would normally.
Right.
If back in the day, Tim, you remember these very well. The 100%, get a 6% seller concession.
If you can breathe, you got a loan.
Yeah, if you
pulse. You got a pulse, you got a loan.
You got a pulse, could fog a mirror,
ridiculous.
you get a loan. And no skin in the game.
No, skin in the game. Okay, is this a Celtics term? What is the skin in the game? All right, you guys are killing me with the sports stuff.
You gotta have all the little analogies.
Yeah, because I'm,
So is this the only type of down payment assistance that's out there?
No. In fact, there are thousands. I mean, you can pull up lists in every single county. There's cities that have them. They're all available to the consumer until the funds run out.
Gotcha.
So the beauty of the CHDAP program is it is available throughout, like we said before, the state of California. So I look at, if you have a buyer that's looking for a property, and let's say they found their dream home in Madera, okay. However, they've already looked into the Fresno County Down Payment Assistance Program. Guess what? They cannot buy that house in Madera with the Fresno County Down Payment Assistance. And why is that?
It's not a Fresno County.
Because it's in a different county.
Correct. So that puts you back into the CHDAP program, which does allow you to shop pretty much anywhere, within your guidelines of what you can qualify for.
So you have to qualify for, or you have to qualify for an FHA loan. So your minimum investment requirement is 3.5, unless you utilize the CHDAP down payment assistance program. So your minimum investment then becomes 1% or $1,000, whichever is greater.
Right.
You still have to meet all the credit and income guidelines
Correct.
as far as an FHA loan is concerned.
Yes,
correct?
you do. Yeah. The credit guidelines are going to be, investors have different guidelines. However, typically speaking, you're looking at a minimum credit score of at least 620.
Gotcha.
Some investors require 640, but I would say 620 is kind of a good ballpark to start with.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's talk about properties. Can this go for a duplex? Can this go for a farm? Tell me a little more, because I say that because
That's actually a very good question.
because we have tons of farming, and there's some land
Yeah,
out there, you
yeah.
know,
You
acres
can-
of stuff going into foreclosure that are available now. I mean,
The property can be single-family residence, okay?
Single family.
Up to 5 acres maximum.
Okay, so max 5 acres.
Maximum
Okay.
5 acres.
That's pretty
Pretty
liberal.
good-sized
generous.
property.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, you cannot have any type of farm-producing income on that property. So if you
Oh, so it's got to be empty. It's got to be stripped.
bare. It's got to be bare.
Bare land.
So we're closing escrow before we bring the lambs and the chickens.
Absolutely.
Before we build the barn.
There's also, you can do the condos.
Okay, condos.
PUD,
But what about duplex?
single-family residence.
You could do one
Duplex
side
is-
of it.
It's
like
still a
a
single
farm?
family, correct?
Duplex is considered a
One to
Oh,
single.
1 to 4.
Yes.
So yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You know,
Now,
just have to
keep
meet-
in mind, you do have to be living in one of those units.
Yeah, right.
Well,
So-
let's keep in mind you do have to be under a certain income. So there's certain ones that are going to may fall out of your price range, like that
Absolutely.
5-acre
So there-
farm.
The other thing that you wanted to touch on, there are income limitations.
There
Is
are
that
income
correct?
limitations. Yes.
Touch on that real quick.
Okay. You're going to have, obviously, if you're applying by yourself, you're single. So as only one member of the family, your income limitations are going to be, for the state of California, $47,300 right now. That's the maximum that you can earn as a single person buying a home, first-time home buyer.
But if we look, I mean, based on the numbers Craig just reviewed for our counties here in the local area, that actually
It's pretty high.
sufficient for any of those counties based on median income.
I think it's very generous.
That is.
Yeah.
Nice.
And as we go up, and if people want to call me and ask me what the limitations are, we have obviously a guideline for
Sure.
it. But 2 people, husband and wife maybe,
Mhm.
$54,050. 3 people, family,
Falls right into that whole affordability index.
Yeah,
that we
absolutely.
talked
That's
about
amazing.
for the
That's awesome.
counties.
60,800.
Interesting how they kind of trend along.
Oh, absolutely.
We're back in reality. We're back.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know that when years ago when the market was booming, this program was not available to most because houses
actually,
weren't attainable to
Actually,
the
the
same degree.
program was available.
Well, that's
It just
pricing
was not.
wasn't achievable.
It just was not a program that most loan officers were pushing for
Okay.
because, you had so many other options that were available.
Well, and I think your income to qualify for the home prices back then weren't necessarily under these guidelines in many cases.
Well, you
What
didn't have
I
to prove
saw-
a lot of your income.
There you
during
go.
those-
Okay,
those
yeah.
programs.
There were
Hey,
some
remember,
extenuating
that's a
market
whole nother show.
conditions.
Yeah, remember, FHA always did the full doc thing.
I know.
Yeah.
And how
So
many
let's-
FHAs were
yeah,
going on
let's-
back then?
let's-
Alrighty, moving
yeah.
on.
Couldn't keep up with the,
Yeah,
okay.
pricing.
Well, something I also wanted to touch on as far as the income is concerned, which I found to be enlightening, especially in our marketplace. We've got a pretty high unemployment rate in Fresno County, Madera County, all throughout the state.
15% heard as of.
Yeah, and people have taken pay cuts from where they previously were, maybe to less pay than they used to always make. Now they're thinking, well, I can't afford a house. Well, I just ran some quick numbers, and based on a $150,000 loan, which is kind of the medium home price that Craig was talking about earlier, I figured out that I was very surprised, but happy to report, if you had a husband and wife both making minimum wage, which is $8 an hour, okay, which is not a lot of money, but it is what it is. If they're making $8 an hour, each one of them working full-time, little credit card debt or minimal credit card debt, they can qualify based on their income. There's credit and the assets, but based on just the income alone, they can qualify for a loan of up to $150,000
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
for not making
Pretty
very
phenomenal.
much money. Yeah.
you just can't have the Hummer payments
Yeah, don't
and all the other.
You don't want to have
Cadillac
two
and-
$300
Yeah.
automobile
Right.
payments. That'll
Exactly.
quickly knock you out of
Right.
out
the
of the
realm.
qualifications.
So to kind of recap, Timmer, so very affordable in terms of the amount of money that you have to make.
Right.
It is a 3% second, so it is a lien of record.
It is a lien against the property.
And
That is correct.
Do you have to make payments on it while you have it?
Isn't it beautiful? No.
Get out.
No payments are required during the full term of the loan.
And so
The
when
full
do you
30
pay
years.
it back?
For 30 years, you do
Wow.
not have to pay this back.
When do you pay it
The
back?
only time that you would have to pay this back would be if you have a transfer of title, meaning
So I'm giving it to my brother.
something like that.
That triggers it.
My brother from another
The
mother.
other one that triggers it too, which unfortunately but does have to be brought up in the case of a divorce.
We really have to go there.
I know.
Moving
so
right
transfer
along.
of title, sale of the property.
Yeah.
You're either paying it off through normal procedures. Maybe you got lucky, you won lottery. You can pay off the loan.
I'm a lucky girl.
Or you're refinancing the first loan again. And
Amazing. Sounds like a deal. I'll take 2.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And I don't have to pay it back. You know,
Well,
and
you
you
don't-
know what? Consumers really like to
Not
not
have-
pay things back.
Absolutely.
Well,
I
it's,
mean,
it's borrow it now and
pay
it
later.
back later. There
Immediate
is-
gratification.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
But you
Exactly.
do have a choice. Obviously, if you're looking to refinance, or maybe you're going to be down the road taking some cash out against that property,
Right.
you would have to pay it off at that point in
I
time.
see.
Usually, it's considered
It's
or
called
included.
forgiven. Is that what they call it? Forgiven?
Well, they don't forgive the loan.
Forgiving it means that they're just going to pretend like it never existed. At the time that you do have to pay it back, you have to pay, if you borrowed $3,000, it does become due and payable upon those triggers that Tim
Upon
mentioned.
paying off the loan.
If you
Paying
what
off
you
your
said?
current first
Sell.
mortgage,
Your
correct?
mortgage. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I missed that piece.
No.
Change
Yeah.
of title, I understood.
That's a good
Paying off the
question
loan.
because you probably are not the only person that had that question.
Well,
Absolutely.
And I'm
serious.
sure there are, well, and I recall, again, going back to when I was 12, yesterday.
You were an early shopper or early
I
bloomer when
was.
it came to shopping
I
for a home.
was. I was shopping for a home when I was 12 in like 1992.
Couldn't enter it because you're not of age.
But there were some programs that had forgiveness type situations,
yes.
whether
Yeah.
they were from employer driven or county driven, whatever. But this is statewide, so that may be the difference. So I'm just clarifying.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sounds like a pretty simple process, Tim. Well, if you have, for our listeners, if you have any real estate or real estate financing related questions, this would be real estate financing related questions, or questions regarding the information that you've heard on our show, we would love to hear from you. Tim would love to hear from you. You can call us at 800-979-3958. You can check out also our resources online at reofresnohomes.com, or just use press 4 keyword
KMJ, call Valley Wide.
and we will put you in contact with Tim O'Hare for a consultation to determine if down payment assistance is right for you. Ultimately, Valley Wide wants you to be able to shop with confidence. Is that correct, Tim?
Absolutely. And the thing, I would love to earn all of your business, but this is a program that's a great program for anybody, anywhere.
Yeah.
If they seek out another loan officer someplace else, that's fine too. I will be more than happy to guide them in the right way.
Awesome. Very selfless, Timmer, I must say. Well, Tim, would you
Karma.
stick with us? Yeah, karma, exactly. What comes around goes around.
Amen.
After the break, we are going to talk about President Obama's plan to help underwater homeowners that he announced during his recent State of the Union address. Does his proposal have any teeth, Michelle, or is it just more election year hype? You be the judge. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network here on News Talk 580 KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
All it takes is one call to the professionals at Valley Wide Homes, and you'll start building wealth in real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home and moving up, or your next income-producing investment property, let the experts at Valley Wide Homes help. There's never been a better time to get into the real estate market. Visit our website at reofresnohomes.com or call toll-free 800-979-3958. That's 800-979-3958. And put the seasoned professionals of Valley Wide Homes to work for you.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, it was announced during the President's recent State of the Union address that the White House plans to propose legislation that could allow a few million, only a few million homeowners to reduce monthly mortgage payments by refinancing their current loans into new ones guaranteed by the Federal Housing Administration. I've got a quick question on that a little bit later. We'll bring up FHA again. This program would broaden the availability of government-backed mortgages to include many borrowers whose loans are held by private companies, not by FHA, but by private companies, who have been unable to persuade those lenders to reduce their interest rates. Existing federal programs focus mainly on borrowers whose loans are owned by the government. Now, the new plan would require congressional approval. That's a big problem right there.
Huge.
Yeah.
You think?
It's a mute issue at that point.
It is a mute issue.
I mean, that's the issue.
Exactly. It's a difficult hurdle for any legislation in the current polarized environment. Still, some Republicans have expressed support for expanding the availability of refinancing, and the White House officials insist that the plan was not an act of theater. I am so sorry. I beg to differ.
Proposed. I love how they use the word proposed.
Well,
over and over and over.
You have to make sure that folks understand this is just a great idea that we're going to talk about between 6 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and in hopes that we try to make everybody think that we are really making headway as far as fixing this housing market because it has so much to do with our national recovery. And I'm sorry, but I think we need to make sure that we
Can we put the rainbow spray paint away?
call a pig a pig.
Yeah, I mean, come on, really?
In today's current economic environment, number one, what I was going to say earlier when I said let's come back to this when we brought up FHA. FHA right now has already changed the way it collects mortgage insurance. FHA is, for our listeners, FHA is a government-insured program and has congressional mandates in terms of their general insurance pool and what are the required mortgage insurance reserves, and they have fallen below that line. With FHA being such a large part of financing in today's market, they've said we've got to do something to change this. So they've shifted the manner in which they collect. They collect mortgage insurance up front and monthly, but they've decreased the up front and increased the monthly by more than double.
Right.
So FHA in and of itself being such a huge player in the market right at the moment, and I can see where the president wants to push maybe that type of program, because that's the only type of program he may have some sort of hopefully control over or influence.
Persuasion.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it could build up the insurance pool very quickly by doubling the amount. If you're getting people to be able to refinance.
You brought up a great point.
Yeah.
If you do, and this has any teeth, first of all, you have to get it past Congress. But if it does have any teeth, not only could it do exactly what you just said, Tim, but then on the backside, normal delinquencies could put a bigger hole in the boat of really the last remaining program that we have that is affordable. That's affordable for our buyers. We just talked about down payment assistance. Right. Down payment 3.5%. Credit score down to 620. That's as close to 100% financing that we've seen in 5 years. That's really viable. Yes, there is monthly mortgage insurance. Yes, there is mortgage insurance up front. But with the housing affordability indexes being so high, seriously, it's a superhero with a red cape and a big old S on their chest.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is. So to expect that we are going to slaughter the last pig in the barn, I just don't see it. I don't see it, and to me it does seem like additional election year hype, because unfortunately there are so many folks that will look at that and go, God love you, and I appreciate what you're doing in terms of that you're proposing this. But my question to you guys, do you think it has any teeth? Do you think that it'll actually accomplish anything?
Well, I think it can. It can definitely help the market in some ways. I just recently had done a refinance for a client that she's only been in her home for 2 years. The interest rate has dropped substantially from when she purchase the home until now when I'm doing the refinance. But the interesting thing is, though, she is getting a payment reduction, which she wants. However, the increase in the mortgage insurance premium almost doubled what it was before.
Sure.
Okay. She's still getting a break in the fact that she's getting a payment reduction, but on the bigger scale, we're increasing that pool of money for the mortgage insurance. It's actually going to help out in the long run.
Sure.
So, there's mixed feelings. It depends on which side of the fence you're sitting on. I think it's a good thing, if you can lower somebody's monthly payment and they're happy with it.
But I think the issue continues to be appraised value. It continues to be, is it an option?
The appraised, value, and Craig.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Are you going to touch on this?
Most of it's.
We'll see what happens with the Harp 2 that's coming out. If there really truly is, and I don't.
Is a Harp 2?
Well, I don't want to. I don't want
appetite for Harp.
Yeah,
really.
Appetite, I think, is the key there. I mean, is it a viable product?
This new program that President Obama proposed would look very similar to Harp.
Mm-hmm.
It would be for all those folks that don't have a loan with Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, those two government-sponsored enterprises, that it didn't matter, or it does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it states, that it does not matter what you owe on your property. It just feels like a little bit of a recipe for disaster, just a little bit. And the reason I say that is because I think it's, principal reduction. Who wouldn't love a principal reduction? Is that going to happen? The longer that
if
we
you
ride
were the
this,
bank, would you accept it?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely no. But the longer we ride this out, the longer the wave continues to crash against the shore, we are going to see things that we did not. Today, we're seeing things that we did not expect to see 3 years ago, even 2 years ago.
Right.
Possibly
a year, ever. Thank you. 6 years ago, the term short sale. What?
I never heard of it.
What is that?
What's a short? Purple spotted hooter rattlesnapper. I don't know. So it remains to be seen that what we're going to see 6 months, a year from now. What's really going to help? Bottom line is, I don't care what it is, what program it is, how it's funded. The market must normalize. And that's one of the things that Mitt Romney said is you really need to let the market take its course. The unfortunate thing with natural selection or letting the market take its course, it does have to purge all those folks that are, and I don't mean purge all those folks, but it has to purge all the properties that are either going to be strategic foreclosures, and strategic foreclosures are those properties where a homeowner can make their payments, but have chosen specifically not to. They've decided for whatever reason. My neighbor across the street,
they feel the American dream is gone. They're never going to build up that equity.
Well, they'll never get to the point. Exactly.
Well, they'll never get to the point where it's worth what they paid for it, so they give up.
I owe $269, and
and that's the idea of why I like the Harp 2 is that it could keep these people in their homes that would otherwise strategically walk.
Well, I think I've worked with some business people in the past, and I mean, they look at it, and it's a business decision for their family. It's kind of like driving the big caddy around that you paid too much for, and it's hogging all the gas, and how long do you put up with it?
Right. At some point, the little voice of reason in your head has to step up and say, "I'm sorry, but this is I can't do this no more.
Exactly.
I really can't."
Right.
It's just, to me, it's the same thing as gas prices being $12 a gallon, and I'm driving a Hummer. I got to get rid of the Hummer.
Exactly. It's a nice idea.
Right.
What President Obama is proposing is a nice idea, and I don't know if FHA has the firepower. They estimated somewhere between $5 and $10 billion for the cost of this actual program.
Right.
I don't know that FHA has the actual firepower. A lot of it remains to be seen because it's just a proposal. They said that the remaining details will come out shortly here.
Sounds like another one of his plans.
Well, sorry. It's interesting because I was watching Piers Morgan over the weekend, and LL Cool J, he was being interviewed prior to him hosting the Grammy Awards, and on Piers Morgan tonight he said, "It is a great idea, but the problem is executing on it." It really is the truth. It really, really is the truth.
Right.
So we shall see whether this will come to fruition. We will see if it will look anything like Harp 2.0. It seems like Harp 2.0 is kind of a pigeonhole for those folks whose mortgages are, I shouldn't say seems like, but it is. After the break, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Harp 2.0. Most of you have probably never heard of Harp 1.0, but we will bring some insight.
Drums, pianos. It might be a band.
Not a music, hopefully not a music thing. We'll see you on the other side of the break. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network here on News Talk 580 KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there's an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
Mortgage interest rates are at historic lows, and there's never been a more affordable time to buy real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let the mortgage professionals at Valley White help. Valley White Homes has been helping homeowners with their mortgage needs since 1997. When it comes to the Valley's real estate, we know our way around the neighborhood. Call toll-free 800-979-3958 and put the seasoned professionals at Valley White Homes to work for you. Valley White Homes, NMLS number 342062, 235-952, California Department of Real Estate License 0122-8460.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Again, we've got Michelle Pettis-Cavalli here in the studio with us, and Tim O'Hare, who is a mortgage advisor with Valley White Homes. Tim, again, thank you for being with us, and terribly sorry again for butchering your name all morning. It is early. Just be patient with me.
Completely understand.
That Irish face is getting red over here.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about Harp, and this is not a music store, music edition.
I was hoping to learn some.
You were hoping
music
some music.
today.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we're talking about Harp 2, which is the Home Affordable Refinance Program. Harp 2.0. It's available, too. Now, granted, we've been doing Harp 1.0. Somewhat unsuccessfully, I should say.
Okay. I'm like, really?
Not us personally. I mean,
Okay.
we've had the opportunity. I've closed a couple myself. They call these particular types of loans DU, and that stands for Desktop Underwriter Refi Plus. Plus meaning you owe more than the standard Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines. We talked about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the two government-sponsored enterprises that are currently under conservatorship with the federal government. Conservatorship, look it up. It's not a good term.
Well, isn't that also mean under construction?
Well, their budget's really under construction because they keep asking for more money.
More.
Exactly. Well, on November 15th, the government released the details that expanded the HARP refinance. And if you're among the more than 7 million customers or homeowners who are expected to qualify under these expanded guidelines, there are several preparatory steps that you need to take to ensure that your application is reviewed first. Like
First?
Yeah, first. Yeah, exactly.
First in line? Number 9?
First at number 9. First and foremost, the old HARP. And Tim, do you want to cover what HARP 1.0, what it really means at the moment?
I hear laughter.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting program. I like it. I mean, it's a decent program for the clients. What it was intended to do was to lend up to, some of them had, when I say some of them, I mean the investors would lend up to 105% of the value of your house. So if your house is worth 100 and you owe 105, you could borrow up to the 105. Correct. No cash out. No cash out. It's just rate and term refinance. You're going to reduce your payments. Hopefully, your interest rate.
So 8% to 4%.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then there was also some investors that were doing up to 125%, which is great. The only problem, but not too many of them, right? None that I'm aware of. Yeah.
I was aware. None that I'm aware of.
It was a Harp negative 1.0.
Well,
We're going to harp it in theory.
And that's what I find interesting about the program. And the frustrating part for the consumers, that the consumer hears from the president, hey, you can borrow up to 125% of the value of your house.
And from the press, through the media,
Through the press,
they hear
the
that.
media, everywhere you look.
Because it sounds really good.
Well, it sounds fantastic.
And really aggressive.
Yes. The problem is the investors, the banks.
And let's talk about it. Secondary market.
Secondary market does not want to do the loans. So even though those programs are available, they have quote-unquote overlays on their programs. For example, some of them would only lend up to 80% on a DU Refi Plus. Well,
that's a conforming loan.
That's a conventional loan that everybody and their mother can get.
Gotcha.
Okay.
If you have 20%.
If you got 20% equity, right. But obviously, most people do not have 20% equity in today's marketplace.
That's the problem.
There's the problem.
Okay, so it's like a catch-22.
So that was Harp 1. So
and with Harp 2, they've
200%.
They've pulled the Band-Aid off. They've increased the ceiling. There is no proverbial ceiling now.
According to what has been said. What was published by Fannie Mae. You can actually go to Fannie Mae's website and see the Harp guidelines or the Harp 2.0 guidelines. Sure.
But the Harp 2.0 gives again, the premise is great.
Yeah.
It gives homeowners the ability to be able to, as an example, your house is worth $100,000, keeping with that example that we used earlier.
Sure.
And you owe $175,000, and you've decided not to strategically foreclose, walk away from the property. You can still make the payments. You want to stay in the house. We've made memories here. Exactly. Yeah. Kids are going to school. We don't want to move.
Right.
It's still a little tough to swallow that we're having, that we have a $1,700 house payment every single month because our neighbor just moved in, bought a house, a couple doors down, and their house payment's $925 a month. A little hard to stomach.
Right.
So when we're talking about the new HARP program, what have you seen in terms of, you said that there was reluctance as far as some of the lenders on HARP 1.0 when you made the comment, none that I know of. A lot would go to 105. I know of two specifically that would go to 125 in theory.
In theory.
They say they would.
Never saw it.
But talk about, we're roughly less than a month out from Fannie Mae actually saying, we're going to do this thing.
Right.
Okay. They've already said they're going to do it. But what type of response have you heard in terms of secondary market, and are they going to do these things? Because people have to be, or entities have to buy the mortgages.
I have not specifically heard that they're all gung-ho for it, personally. If they are some lenders out there that are actually doing that, I'm not aware of them again.
Yeah, there isn't from the research that I was able to do.
The research thus far. So I am hopeful that the program that is being stated that is coming out actually will come out, and we can offer that to those customers that do want to stay in their home. Because, I mean, really that's the bottom line, is trying to keep people in the home so it doesn't further deteriorate the values of what's already been a declining market.
Again, either we have to do something about it for those folks that are close enough,
take its course.
Right.
And I mean,
you can't prolong it.
And here's the thing with the investors. Let's be honest. The public is screaming about the bailouts. The public is screaming and yelling about the government giving handouts to these banks who didn't necessarily use it wisely or handle everything wisely when this became an issue. Those are the same institutions that have to decide if they're willing to pay more on this house than this house is worth in a mortgage.
Right.
The likelihood of them losing money walking in, knowing the chances of foreclosure are still there, let's be honest, guys, it's slam to none.
In my opinion, and here's why I think the program could work, is that if you're in a situation where you're already upside down and the customers have been making their payments, and that's one of the guidelines, is that you do have to be making your payments on time for the last 6 months.
Sure.
Completely on time, and you can have a 1 times 30 days delinquent in the last 12 months.
Right.
So
let's think about this.
Late.
I have a mortgage at Wells Fargo. I now am going to Chase for a Harp 2.0. How's that going to fly, guys? I mean, that's where the market's at. They're like, why do I want to take their mess up?
Most likely what you're going to end up doing is refining with that current lender
It's going to happen.
Most likely.
Well, I think you mentioned it. We were talking earlier before the show, and you said, well, Michelle brought up Wells Fargo. Well, so Wells Fargo's signed on if it's a Wells Fargo to Wells Fargo. I talked to someone recently. Union Bank will do it, but it's Union Bank to Union Bank. So the greater the likelihood that you have someone that you are already servicing, that you can predict their pay history, there's a greater chance that you're going to bite that off, as opposed to the example that you just gave. You're talking one bank to another bank, Wells Fargo to Chase.
Yeah.
Chase is
not
going to, honestly, I don't see it on the secondary market, guys. I really don't see it happening. It will be interesting to see what happens over the next few weeks because, again, I think this is something that the market needs. Again, though, I also believe that you need to let nature take its course and that we've got to get everything purged from the inventory.
I agree.
Before the market normalizes.
And I think history, we're making history right now, guys.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bumped and bruised, but
history will repeat itself.
We could go on and on. I'm going to tell you this. Stay tuned because this is something that we will be bringing up and watching as it unfurls before us.
Well, one thing I would suggest as far as any customers that are looking into that program at all, they can go to either Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae's website to find out if their property does indeed.
Or, Tim, they can call you.
They could call me.
If they're unsure.
You can email it to them.
Exactly. Use press 4 keyword, call Valleywide, and we'll put you in contact with Timmer.
Yeah, I would love it.
Exactly. And then this stuff is not for the weak at heart or someone with ADHD that has a hard time following the links. I'm not talking about you. Yeah.
It's always about me, Greg. Come on.
And usually to your face. We're going to take another quick break. After the break, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the recent $26 billion foreclosure settlement with the federal government. We'll see you on the other side.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
All it takes is one call to the professionals at Valleywide Homes, and you'll start building wealth in real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing investment property, let the experts at Valleywide Homes help. There's never been a better time to get into the real estate market. Visit our website at reofresnohomes.com or call toll-free 800-979-3958. That's 800-979-3958. And put the seasoned professionals of Valleywide Homes to work for you.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, I tell you what, in the largest deal to date aimed at addressing the housing meltdown, federal and state officials announced just this past week a $26 billion foreclosure settlement with 5 of the largest home lenders. The participating banks, or the 5 major participating banks that participated in this particular settlement, were Bank of America, J.P. Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, and Ally Financial. Now, Ally Financial was formerly GMAC. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
They will pay a total of $5 billion to the states and to the federal government. Some of that money will go to foreclosed homeowners and the rest of the states. Now, one of the things that I found that was really interesting about this is the California, I think it was California and Florida, there were 2 states attorney generals that hadn't quite, as of the beginning of last week, weren't totally pleased with how the settlement was going, so they hadn't, quote-unquote, fully signed on. Right. Well, by Thursday, when they announced this, it was a done deal, and California was part of this particular settlement. Question is, too little, too late?
I don't know. You lost your home and your dreams and your family. That's a lot of money.
They say that because you lost your home that we're going to send you a check for $3,000. How does that make you feel?
I wouldn't be too pleased about it myself.
Again, these are the kinds of things that we were talking about before the break. We're seeing things that we have never seen before.
Yeah. The interesting part about that to me, though, is that, you know, they may have done the foreclosure incorrectly. You know, you don't know about every single case, but, you know, bottom line, people didn't make their payments, and, you know, that's a tough decision not to do that.
And how do you determine who gets what help?
Right.
They're talking about a certain amount of the money is going to go towards folks that did lose their home. At least $17 billion is going to go to those that need their principal reduced, or who are considered underwater at this time. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
And I think if there was any, how should I say this? Keep folks in their homes right now by modifying the loans in some way, shape, or form.
In a principal reduction.
Principal reduction, I think,
Right.
is critical. I think if you were going to do anything, principal reduction has teeth. But the question is can you get the secondary market and the servicers to buy off on the fact that you are going to somehow help? And here's the deal. If you can make it financially rewarding and prove to them statistically, you either short sell it or you let it go to foreclosure, but it's going to cost you more money, then we give you a certain amount of money to forego that, to help keep those folks in that home, as long as it makes sense. And that's the thing, is it's got to make sense. But I think a principal reduction is probably, this may be, unfortunately, a little too late, but we shall see. It appears that this particular settlement is also going to be increased to include additional banks as well as additional states. So in time, stay
There's
tuned.
more to come.
Yeah,
We're making history.
We are
making
making
really,
history.
truly. Yeah.
We are
Making
definitely making history. Well, Tim O'Hare, mortgage advisor, Valleywide Homes. Tim,
Awesome to be here.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Will you come back?
I will.
Woohoo! You heard
Again,
it.
it's going to be every other week, but
Oh,
that would be fun.
We've got to work it out with your ex-wife. That's
Yeah.
great. Good to hear. Michelle, a big thank you to
Hey,
you.
always a pleasure.
Will you come back, please?
I told you I'm a lucky girl. I'll be back because I've got you programmed in my phone. Watch out.
Oh,
Press
fantastic.
4.
Press
man.
4. Let me tell you.
KMJ, call Craig.
Again, if you have any real estate or real estate financing related questions or questions regarding the information that we cover on our show, we would love to hear from you. Call us again, 800-979-3958, or you can check out our resources online at reofresnohomes.com, or just use press 4 keyword,
KMJ, call Valleywide.
and we'll connect you right to the show. Well, I tell you what, don't forget to tune in to the Real Estate Radio Network next Saturday at 4 a.m. on News Talk 580 KMJ. Make it a great day, Central Valley, and we will see you next week.
The preceding program was paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.